Okay, last but not least, Mamedyarov Rapport. This was the game of the tournament so far. Okay, so they played the anti-Moran. This has been theory for 800 years. Okay. This position's been known forever. And, both of them are going to be really booked up. He castled. Okay, you can't take the knight because bishop takes b5 check, just like that French defense trap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bishop here. And it was around here that they slowed down. So I don't know. And the engine likes black. The engine says black's doing fine. The engine says hooray for black. Okay. This move is bad. And the reason he did that was after the pawn sack, he can play here, attacking the rook, and he wants to do stuff to him. Okay, so far, the opening has gone well for black, and black is better. And in this position, he made a mistake, and then he's not better. What he needs to do is play rook a4. And the reason is because of what white did, which was to take this and play queen d4, which I guess he underestimated. And he played rook a6 for defending this, but the rook is pretty bad here. So rook here, and black has the advantage. And he played here, and now Mamedyarov correctly did this, threatening this pawn. And now the queen can come over here, and so on. And this rook's no good. Still equal. Queen h4, king e7, solid. G3, not engine preferred. All right. So the game's super complicated and super ridiculous. Rook h8, the queen's defending the rook. Material's back to even, but black looks like he might have an attack against the white king. And there's all kinds of tricks that didn't happen because they both saw them. Okay, so he played queen b6. That pins this pawn. So now if it was black's move, black's thinking about sacking somewhere, like trying to attack the king. So he played rook here. Now you got to watch it. You got to defend that. You can't move that because that's hanging. So you don't really want your bishops lined up like this. So he played there. That way he can move his bishop if he wants, and this bishop can go here. Bishop c2 attacking the rook. Rook g4. Knight d4. Blocking the queen. So there's no more pins on the f-pawn. Bishop e5. He takes the pawn. Now there's all kinds of tempting moves. And the problem with black's position is it looks like he's attacking, because he is, but queen a3 check's very annoying. It's hard to move for black there. Now the engine says everything is equal and both players are playing great. It says this move is a draw. Okay, but he played queen c5. Now, there was some variation, I don't know if it was this one, where the correct move was knight d4. Okay, but it's not here. Oh, here it is. It's check. Then this is the only move. And then black is winning if white doesn't play knight d4. So now, the commentators were confused, the ones I was watching, because who's going to see knight d4, white or black? And if they were correct in their assessment that nobody's going to see knight d4, then why didn't black play rook takes h2? The only reason rook takes h2 doesn't win is because queen a3 check and knight d4. Black didn't play rook takes h2, and white played knight here, allowing rook takes h2. Now, is it possible both players saw rook h2, check here, knight d4? Is it possible neither player saw it? I don't know. And now this is a draw after here, but we won't talk about that. See, here there's all kinds of stuff happening. It's all happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't see the pin at first. I was confused.
Yeah. There's everything's.
I'm on board now.
Yeah, everything's pinned with every. Yeah. It's
I'm
crazy.
talking about the pawn on f2.
Yeah, here's a funny variation. You like funny variations?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I go here. And then mate. Hooray. Okay, so why he didn't play rook takes h2, nobody knows. Because the game ended and they all went to dinner. I don't know. It doesn't win, but unless white plays queen a3, knight d4, it does win. So both players saw queen a3, knight d4, I guess, or not. Okay, so he played queen c5. The idea is there's no queen a3 check. So now we can get back to business. Okay, knight c3. He wants to go knight e4. King f8. Now, when the queen was on b6, which it was before, then he's defending this. So then he could play rook takes h2. With the queen not on b6, you can't play rook h8 because this is checkmate. So he played king f8 because he wants the king to be here. Then he can do whatever he wants. Okay. Knight e4, good move. Queen c6, good move. b4, okay. Bishop a6 is okay. This is all fine. Yeah, these moves are all like engine says good. Knight d2. Okay. Now black has a lot of tempting moves, and he played this, which is the engine move, trading the bishops. And here, bishop b7 attacking the queen's defending the rook. So he plays queen b3. Okay, so far the players are playing great, considering how complicated it is. Now, if black wants to draw, he can play queen takes, knight takes, rook takes b4, and it's a draw. But but Rapport doesn't want to draw, and he plays for the win. If he wants to play for a win, he should play queen c6, threatening, everything. Then f3, queen b6 check. The engine says it's equal, but okay, he can play for a win. But he played queen c7, and the reason's actually very funny. And in fact, the reason he played queen c7 doesn't work unless he knew it didn't work, which is possible. And I think the reason Mamedyarov didn't play rook c5 is he mistakenly thought this move wins. So I'm threatening checkmate. If you take the rook, check, and checkmate. So in my opinion, I can't prove it, both players thought rook c5, rook h2 was winning for black, and they were both wrong. That's my opinion. After rook c5, and I'll show you why it's bad. After rook c5, black should play queen f4, and the engine says white's slightly better. What? Okay. Now, are you ready for the refutation? Yeah. White has one move that wins here, and every other move loses.
I don't know.
Correct.
It's complicated.
Right. Knight f3. That blocks this. So now I'm threatening your queen, and I'm threatening your rook, and so forth. Now it looks like this is good. Rook takes check. And now again, white has one move that wins, and every other move loses. The move that wins is really scary to play. It's taking the rook, allowing discovered checks, because the queen's hanging.
Yeah.
And now white's just winning. Yeah, this is the main line. Check, takes, and white's up a rook. So actually, rook takes h2 loses to rook takes h2 loses to knight f3, and I mean, I think if Mamedyarov saw that, he would have expected rook h2 and he would have played it. And I think that's why Rapport played queen c7. He didn't see knight f3. Knight f3 wins, every other move loses. I think they both thought this won for black, and they both missed this, so it didn't happen. Okay, so he played queen b2, defending his rook, and also when the rook moves, queen takes h8 check. So there's a lot of discovered tricks here. Okay, this move's really bad, queen b2. But luckily, Rapport, he moved with like 1 second left. Yeah, he made the next move with 1 second on his clock. And he played the right move, and then he changed his mind. So he put his rook here, and then he put it here. And then he hit the clock with 1 second. But rook g7 is correct. And after that, okay. Now the best move...
sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I wasn't in the room when that move happened. I was in the kitchen, but I heard Yasser and Alejandro just let out a huge yell when he switched. When it got
Oh, yeah, that was
second.
funny. Right. Okay. Now, the best move is crazy like Fox News.
Yeah.
The only way to find the best move is if you follow my rules. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you know the song Lightning Strikes, you'll get that reference. I mean, if you know every lyric in the song, which none of you do. Yeah.
I don't even.
Come on, baby. Follow my rules. Yeah. Okay. So queen d8 double exclam. Let me explain that move to you. It pins the knight to the rook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it threatens rook h2 winning and queen h4 winning. So this is the best move, queen d8.
I can see that.
Right. Now, the reason to not play queen d8, even if you see it, is you're worried about these discovered attacks. So like, let's say here, right? You're worried because this is attacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But rook h2 wins, threatening checkmate. And if you take it, rook h4 check. If you go here, I go here. And if you take, it's the same mate. Obviously, with 1 second left, nobody's seeing anything, right? So he played rook g8, which is very bad. f3, which is very bad. Shocking, right? And now the losing move. f3 is a terrible move, and f6 is the losing move. What world am I in? Okay, so he should have played rook c5, and the engine says he's winning. But he played f3, which is terrible. Now, the drawing move, confusing the audience, is rook takes h2 now, and then f6, because the rook can't move. You get checkmated. So now you just win the rook back. Never play f6. And other moves are okay too for black, like bishop d5. Okay, f6 loses. Thanks, Dubers. The reason f6 loses, it obviously hangs the e6 pawn, right? Mm-hmm. And Rapport thought, gotcha, bitch. That's what he thought. That's why he played f6. He thought, okay, now coming in. But king f1. The engine says here that this is equal, but white's winning. The engine's wrong. Now it says white's winning. Need a better engine. Yeah. King f1, the only winning move. Now, here comes queen f6 check. That's not good. Yeah, so now you're just lost. Also, here comes pawn takes rook, also winning. So he played here, queen f6 here. Now, watch the brilliant variations. There's one winning move here. Mamedyarov thought a while and he found it. This looks like it's winning, but it's not. Here. Now, if you play rook e7, which is a blunder, black wins. Black's checkmating white. Because king e1, this is mate. And you have to, you can sacrifice pieces to stave off the mate, but you get mated. Okay. But originally, they thought queen here won. Okay. It attacks this. It attacks this. It stops bishop a6. And here comes rook e7. Looks good, right? Mm-hmm. The way for black to draw here is you check, hanging your bishop. Then you play queen here, like random legal move. Attacking the knight. And the knight's pinned. And this is a draw. Nobody would ever play bishop a6. Nobody would do that. Mm-hmm. Give a bishop away, then play queen d7. And the drawing line is very funny. It's this. Always repeat. If you play queen d6 because you're trying to win, then queen b5. No, boo.
I see.
Okay, so he didn't do that, Mamedyarov. He played the only winning move, queen e5, because the rook is defending this. And now he's doing this, and rook f6, and so on. So he played f4. That stops queen takes rook. It defends his rook. So now he has some perpetuals because the king can't take the rook. And then Mamedyarov like, nope, you don't have any perpetuals. Then he checks, saving his queen. You have to take the bishop. Check, check. And now he blocks with the knight. And then he tries, but he fails miserably. King e1 is the only winning move. That's it. This doesn't win, and this doesn't win. Amazing. This actually loses. And black wins.
I feel like I would need to spend about
Right.
30 to 45 minutes going over all of this.
Right. So he played here.
To understand.
Check here, giving his rook away because he has mate.
Yeah.
Then he does the, that mate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so he trades rooks, and he tries for perpetual. Then he resigns, because if he checks, it doesn't matter where, then I can block with a queen, and that's the end of the checks. And if you check here, and you can get one more check. I guess you get two more. You can go here, right? Yeah. And that's it. I could have played king f1. But okay, the rook is. So after king f2, Rapport resigned. And then everybody praised Mamedyarov's play in the time trouble and like in the calculation. But yeah, Rapport played rook g8, and that was a very bad move, close to losing, but white played f3 and then black played f6, and those were both terrible. f6 loses immediately, and f3 gave away most of white's advantage. Boo, boo. Yeah. Yeah, very complicated. Oh yeah, I didn't show the rook g2 knight e4 line that was discussed. That's right. Yeah. Right. Okay, so after this move, which was not played, there's only one move that wins for white. Because we're doing the check. Is knight e4 stopping the check?
Oh, yeah.
Because now we're unleashing the rook on d8. Yeah, that's the only move that wins. And then the winning line is check. You can't take with the rook because of queen c4 check. So you play b5, takes, takes, takes. Now black's up in exchange, but it's white's turn to move, so that's not good for the king. Yeah. And then, the engine says everything wins for white. But, you still have to win. But it's, can't go to the back rank because of this. If you go to the third rank rook here, so queen f7 and white wins. Yeah, crazy. And I think the reason that's a crazy line is after rook g2, this is the only winning move. Otherwise, the engine says draw. Yeah, that's crazy. Because I'm going to check you forever. And if you play king e1, I check, and you can't win that either. But this, and I assume both players saw that, because he thought forever before he played f4, and then he didn't play rook gg2. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that variation. I forgot. Yeah, these are all tough lines, but other than f3 and f6, it was a pretty good game. Yeah. But I mean, those were, and f6 on move 40 was the losing move. Boo, boo. It's okay if I say boo to these guys because we have a good rapport.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I'll have to,
I
go over
agree.
it again now.
So I have to start preparing for the coverage on chess.com Twitch page. We actually start in a few minutes setting up everything, and then we take a break, and then I don't know. So I have to leave soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ahmed saw knight e4. The line Ben gives is actually draw. What? No, I gave great lines. Yeah. My lines are great. I'm like that with Mamedyarov. He even knows who I am. Maybe. Probably not. Yeah. I wonder if Rapport knows who I am. I doubt it. Mamedyarov knows who I am. Rapport probably not. It's like Ben Feingold. Who's that? Ridiculous. All right. See you guys tomorrow at the same time. And it's the same. I do this spiel, and then I do the coverage and so forth, mainly and so forth. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Queen c7 wins because a queen takes h2. All right.